everybody. I'm Evie Roberts, and this is my podcast, Talking in the Dark. Welcome. The aim of this podcast is to raise awareness about blindness, visual impairment, and disability in general, in a happy and light-hearted way. For those of you that don't know, I am blind. I was born with a condition called bilateral anophthalmia. Try spelling that one. It basically means that when I was born, my eyes didn't develop properly, so I wear prosthetics instead. The goal of this podcast is to remove some of the stigma and stereotypes around disabilities, whilst also having fun at the same time. Each week, I will be interviewing people from all walks of life, including some with hidden or physical disabilities like mine, and getting to know a little bit more about them and the lives they lead. This week, I am very excited to tell you that I will be talking to James and Laura from the Hammond School of Performing Arts. My name is Evie Roberts, and this is my podcast, Talking in the Dark. Welcome. Hi guys.
Hello.
Hello.
How are you both?
Oh, we're great, thank you.
Yeah, really good, thanks. How are you?
I'm good, thank you. How's your day been?
Well, I mean, today's been pretty mega, to be honest. We've met some pretty incredible students. We've done a full day of singing and dancing, so what's not to love?
Exactly.
And we got an interview at the end of it, a little Q&A, so that was delightful too.
Cool, so this is my first podcast with two of you. Like, I've never done two guests before.
Okay.
So...
How are you feeling?
All right, I think. I think it's pretty much just the same as having one, but
Yeah.
you know.
We'll be kind.
Oh, thank you so much. Okay, so my first question, can you tell us a bit about the Hammond?
Absolutely we can. So the Hammond is a wonderful performing arts place in Chester, in the UK, and we offer a provision of a variety of courses in musical theatre and dance and theatre arts, right the way through from the age of 11 all the way to higher education at degree level, which roughly age-wise is about 18 to 21, 22-year-olds, I would say. So a huge variety of students, age groups and courses. And we're really, really proud to train the next generation of performers going into the performing arts industry.
That's amazing. So what are both of your roles?
So James and I are both Deputy Directors of Higher Education. So we are involved in the management of the degree provision that we have at the Hammond. But individually, I teach voice and I teach singing. And James.
And I teach dance and choreography. So we get to work with some wonderful students in our respective disciplines, whilst also being really creative. And the good thing about what we do as well is we have an end of year show at the Hammond for all of the courses. And we've just done Jesus Christ Superstar, I think in May, was it?
Yep.
And then as a team, we get to work together from organisation, production management, which Laura works on. And then obviously I do the choreography. And then we've got a wonderful director who is Manx famous, Mr. John Young, who was born on the Isle of Man. And then has gone on to be a professional theatre director, and then we have professional lighting designer. So yeah, it's pretty cool.
That's very cool. So
Yeah.
what made both of you want to join the Hammond?
So for me, I've always grown up in musical theatre. I've worked as a performer, trained as a performer, and I've been out in the world and worked in the industry. And then I decided that I wanted to teach, and then I wanted to train the next generation and offer my experience or the benefit of my experience to others. So I started at the Hammond about 5 years ago after having done about 10 years in the industry. And it's really great to actually just work with students and getting them to helping them to find their technique and find their voice and realise their potential, I guess, really. But the Hammond is a really beautiful site that's on our doorstep in Chester, and I think just a really unique place to work, and it's just got such a lovely family atmosphere that
it's cool, isn't it?
yeah, I just feel really privileged to be a part of.
It doesn't feel like, I mean, it is work, obviously, but it doesn't feel like
No, it
going to
doesn't.
work. And then when you get to work with these young adults, these young people, and you also get to go to work with like really nice members of your team and staff, it just feels like a really blessed position to be in. And for me, I was introduced to the Hammond. I'd always known about the Hammond, of course, because I'm a local lad to the area. But I was introduced to the Hammond a little bit differently. I was a theatre agent after I'd had a career as a dancer and professionally working and what have you. And then the agent that I was signed to asked me if I wanted to be a junior agent. So I said yes, to get obviously a bit of experience and also to have a little bit of a new string to my bow, I guess. And then that agent was invited to the Hammond for Agents Day, and I went on their behalf, and that's basically how I got introduced to people at the Hammond. And then from there I was asked to come in and do some choreography and then some workshops, and then 3 years later I'm full-time, which is delightful.
Oh wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's pretty cool, and it was a bit of a different way, I suppose, than other people getting in, and in no way's the right way. What I'm saying is you know, you find your path and you end up being where you need to end up eventually anyway, don't you? You let in is the way that you find yourself in. So yeah, that's how I got in.
Yeah. So how many students and staff do you have?
Gosh, Evie, that's a good question. What do you mean, across all courses, or do you mean just for the degree?
I guess we could do across all courses, up to you guys.
I mean, in terms of the degree, we have about 10 members of staff on the degree, 10 or 11 I think we're at now, that work on the degree. And then in terms of students, across our 3-year groups, we
105?
currently have 105 across the 3 years of the courses. In terms of, I mean, I don't know the exact number, and maybe we should have come prepared with that information, but I don't know. In terms of the other courses we have, on the diploma, which is the 16 to 19 provision, there is a dance course and a musical theatre course, and I think roughly there's about 40-ish, 45 in a year group across the dance and the musical theatre. Yeah. So I would probably guesstimate that those courses are about 120, 130 students maybe across those courses. Then we have a theatre arts provision that runs from year 7 right the way through to year 13. And again, I don't know the exact numbers because I know those numbers are going up every year. So
it's really well attended as a course.
I think what started as probably being single digits on that course are now very, very healthy double digit courses that are growing in numbers every year. So, you know, the theatre arts provision is thriving. And then obviously we have our lower school academic provision, I suppose, for those who are there either as a day student or as a boarding student. So I think we offer so many different courses. It's a
lot is the answer to your question.
Basically.
Yeah.
There's quite a lot, and a lot of staff. I don't actually know. We should find out.
That'd be interesting to find out.
Yeah, we'll let you know.
All right, cool. So why do you think people should study at the Hammond?
Oh, good question. Why? Well, one of the things I always say whenever I'm asked that question is it's a very unique site. We're really privileged to be geographically located in a really nice place in the country. We have wonderful links to Liverpool, Manchester, North Wales. We also offer really bespoke individual training, and we know everybody by name. And everybody is a family at the Hammond, and it is a family unit. I was only saying earlier on, actually, you know, you find that you get students coming back after a few years of having left that still want to just pop in and check in and be still part of the Hammond family. So I think the training that we offer, coupled with the site and what the site is and what the site offers and what the site looks like, as well as the individuality and the nurturing of the individuality of every performer, I think it just makes it a really beautiful place to work, to study, and just to be. And I think if you were to ask current students and past students, they'd probably say the same thing. That's generally the theme that you always think when you think of the Hammond.
Mm-hmm. So do you have any famous ex-students?
Yes, we do have famous ex-students, don't we?
Yes, we were talking about this before, actually. So in terms of when you say famous, it's such an interesting term, and I suppose it's all relative to areas of interest, I guess. We have quite a lot of students who've gone on to work in the West End on tour, whether that's in musical theatre, whether that's in dance companies, whether that's on cruise ships, or even internationally. They've gone on to work across the globe. And even in terms of choreographers and all
Dance
of that,
companies,
dance
theatre
companies. I mean,
companies.
the outcomes are quite varied across all the loads of different forms of art, I suppose. We were talking about Sandra Wu, who's in Killing Eve. Did we say
Killing
she's in?
Eve, and then
Joel Harper Jackson's just finished doing Cock in the West End, and he's been in Kinky Boots and Jesus Christ Superstar.
Georgie Porter, who's in Hollyoaks.
All right.
But I think a lot of the names are really respected and really well known in their relevant fields of expertise. So they are successful as people who have trained and then gone on to do some wonderful things in the world of theatre and television.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, and I think it's important as well to just think of probably the words we would use as successful rather than famous, because I think fame is all relative to do with obviously what is maybe more out there for the general public, but I suppose being a successful artist in whatever the chosen industry is, we have an extensive back catalogue of names of students who have gone on to great success, and they may not be names that you've necessarily heard of, but they're certainly very successful
and respected
in their avenues or their areas.
And what's cool about the Hammond, Evie, is when you walk into our main building, there's a whole corridor. It's like a corridor. It's huge, and then from sort of floor to ceiling, there are all of our ex-students' headshots and all of the shows that they've done. So there's this massive wall corridor as you walk through the Hammond, of just headshots and pictures and show footage and show pictures of all the ex-students that they've gone on to do some amazing work. So we're very proud and privileged to have worked with all of those people that have come through our doors.
Wow, that's amazing.
Yeah, it's cool.
And it's worth noting, like, it's Ariel who's just won an Olivier for choreography, wasn't it?
She did win an Olivier.
So it's all relative into those terms, but I think there's a lot of students who've gone on to great success in whatever medium or area that they have wanted to pursue.
Yeah, it's pretty cool.
So, have you ever trained any students who have a disability?
So, I mean, it's a term I think it's a relative term, isn't it? So I think in terms of have we trained somebody, we've both been on the degree for 4 years, I think. And I don't think we've trained anybody who was visually impaired, to my recollection. I don't think so.
I think we have trained people, Evie, who have got additional needs.
Yeah. For
sure. But I don't think I've trained anybody at the Hammond who has a clear disability or any visual impairment.
I mean, I think it's all relative, but I think I would say that we've certainly trained students who've maybe had so like curvature of the spine, for example, where obviously that is preventing them from being able to maybe use their body in as free a way as maybe they would normally be able to, or students who've maybe got a hip problem or a knee problem, or like those kinds of disabilities, I suppose. But I don't think in terms of like sensory disability, I don't think I'm aware of anybody as far as I think
not at the Hammond, but previously to me, having worked at the Hammond and in sort of different areas of work that I had done, I've definitely worked with people who have loss of hearing, and also some people that I've worked with might have had a limb or part of their body that maybe hadn't grown or had been missing. So I have worked with people like that, but not at the Hammond.
So do you have any advice for students wanting to join the theatre industry?
In terms of disability or just generally?
Just in general.
In general. I mean, I think in terms of joining the theatre industry, I think you've got to be passionate about it. You've got to love it, I think. And part of that is about just having an interest in seeing as much as you possibly can and experiencing as much theatre as possible.
Absorbing it,
yeah. And I think, but also I think, you know, putting theatre to one side for a second, like you experiencing life as much as possible, because theatre is a storytelling. It's storytelling about life, isn't it? So the more wealth of experience you have of different experiences within life, the more you are maybe able to access telling those stories, I think. So I think it's a multitude of living your life and experience life as much as possible, but also experiencing different mediums of theatre, whether that's something that's more traditional in an actual theatre, that's, you know, I don't know, end on prosarch kind of scenario, whether it's an open air theatre, whether it's community theatre, you know, or whether it's devised theatre, or whether it's interpretive dance, whatever it is. I would say if you're interested in working in this particular area or going into this area, experience as much as you can, talk to as many people as you can, read as much as you can. I think, you know, and I think that's where
big time
we all learn, and I don't think you ever fully know everything. You just keep absorbing that.
What do you think about the theatre, Evie?
I love it.
Do you?
I've gone to see a few musicals over the years.
What's your favourite?
I love Matilda.
Yeah.
That's a really cool one. But I also love Wicked.
I mean, Wicked, the new film's coming out soon.
Oh, yeah, it is, isn't it?
Yeah, and I think, did they postpone the release date because they're still in production? I mean, Ariana Grande and Cynthia Erivo as the two leads is genius, because, I mean, they can both sing it. I mean, that's just going to be delightful, isn't it? But I think, theatre's just such a wonderful escapism, isn't it?
Oh, yeah, definitely.
You get to go and watch it and just suspend your disbelief from life for a couple of hours, or be in it and just live your best life and pretend to be somebody else.
Yeah.
So, I mean, it's a no-brainer. It's just brilliant.
I mean, I suppose just going on from that, like, how accessible do you find theatre?
I mean, in recent years, you know, they started doing touch tours and audio described performances. I haven't had the chance to be able to attend one of them yet, but I know my mum really wants to take me to one.
Yeah.
I think in recent years theatre has got a lot more accessible, which is brilliant.
And with the audio stuff, how does that work? Do you have, like, does it play in your ears so that you can?
Do you know what? I'm genuinely not too sure. I imagine that's what you would do. You would have like a headset.
Yeah.
And it would, because that's what you do if you go to watch a film at the cinema.
Okay.
That you get given like headphones, but I'm not too sure, to be honest.
Oh, that'd be interesting for your and also like your first experience of that. I bet you that will just open up a whole new world of the experience of the theatre.
I'm really excited. I'm really excited to get to my first one.
I bet you are.
Although they do a lot of them during school time, so it's really hard to find one that's during the holidays.
How can we get you out of school to go and watch some theatre? Leave it with us.
Right. Okay. Okay, so my last question for you. Why do you think performing arts is so important?
I mean, I think for me, it's, we said before about escapism is obviously part of that. But I think for me, it's an ability to connect with yourself. And I think there's something really beautiful about, particularly as a performer, as somebody who is doing that actively, it tells you an awful lot about yourself, and it frees an awful lot of yourself in your ability to be able to communicate in different ways, whether that's through your voice or through your body, or whether that's more visual or more oral or more physical or whatever that might be. I think it's such a freeing experience for people, I guess, and it's an opportunity to tell stories in a different way, but also what you're then giving other people, that you're touching people in another way, whether that's emotionally, whether that is, more didactic, that they go away having learnt something. I don't know. There's just something really powerful about it for me.
Yeah. I think it's the safest space to be who you want to be.
Yeah.
And I think there's a lot of kids out there, and potentially kids that don't realise it yet, that are discovering themselves and figuring out where they fit in the world. And I think performing arts allows you to be that person, and I think it without an apology, and I think without it, you're not tapping into some beautiful, amazing creativity and imagination that should never be lost, whether you're an adult or a child. As I say, I think the safe space that it creates is mega.
Yeah.
I think it's what it's all about. It certainly was for me as a child, and I think moving forward for a lot of young people, it just allows you to just a bit of escapism, isn't it?
Yeah, it's brilliant.
Yeah, well, it is brilliant. Do you enjoy it?
Yeah, I do.
Is it your favourite subject?
Well, I haven't picked performing arts specifically for GCSE, but I have picked music.
Great.
So I love the more like musical side of it, I guess.
Amazing. And do you play instruments?
Yes, I play the flute, and I'm trying to teach myself how to play the keyboard. Not going great, but I will. But I've done up to grade 3 on the flute.
Hey, listen, don't give up
Fantastic.
any instruments. I mean, my biggest regret was I didn't carry on my piano. I just got involved too much into dance, and I kind of let it sideline. I wish I'd carried on, because I think it's great that anyone can play an instrument. It's just such a good skill to have. So yeah, let me know how the keyboard playing goes.
I will. It's not going great at the minute, but I'll keep you updated.
Please do, and I'll get you out of school.
Okay,
Well, and we all
deal.
start somewhere. We always have to start from a place where maybe we can't do something before we can.
Oh yeah, definitely.
That's so true, yeah. Really
It's
true.
very true. So they are all my questions. Thank you so much to both of you for answering them.
You're very welcome. Thank you for having us.
Thank you so much for
No
having us.
problem. It's been great to have you. And thank you to my audience for listening, and I will see you all next time.